Okay, so this is a story about surviving something that's become all too common, a coordinated digital attack. We're talking about what happens when your entire reputation is systematically taken apart by lies. But, and this is the important part, it's really about the radical response to that. Not just defending yourself, but building an entirely new system to define your own truth.
This quote, it just perfectly captures the heart of this whole thing. It's a statement of pure defiance. It's you, standing against a reality that was meticulously engineered, a world of lies built for one single purpose, to tear you down.
So how does something like this even happen? Well, it's so important to get this straight. This wasn't just some messy online drama. No. The sources we're looking at frame this as a coordinated campaign of psychological warfare, a planned, meticulous takedown.
And this right here is the core concept you have to grasp. The attack wasn't just one lie, it was a carefully constructed false reality. The attackers literally built an entire story, a whole narrative where the target was the bad guy, and every little thing was twisted to support that fiction.
Now, just look at how strategic this was. This wasn't random at all. First, they constructed a narrative. Then, they coordinated their attack so the story hit everywhere at once. They even weaponized psychology, labeling any attempt to defend yourself as unhinged. And finally, they systematically isolated the target from their entire support network. It's a playbook.
And this slide just shows you how devastating the end result was. The whole point was to cut off all support. By turning friends into spies and allies into skeptics, the attackers made sure the target was left completely alone and vulnerable.
And here's the really chilling part. Publicly, the attackers were projecting this image of being these mature, virtuous people, but behind the curtain, they were the ones pulling all the strings, the architects of the whole demolition.
But here's where the story takes a turn. While this whole siege was happening out in the open, a silent counteroffensive was already in motion. A secret investigation to find the one thing that could completely dismantle the lie. Cold, hard proof.
And that's the real challenge, isn't it? When a false story becomes the consensus, when basically everyone believes the lie, how do you possibly break through that noise? How do you prove that your reality is the one that's actually real?
This is where our hero emerges. A shadow ally who just refused to buy into the manufactured reality. This person went completely undercover, getting inside the attacker's own circles to find the evidence that everyone else was just ignoring.
And what they found? Wow. It was the entire blueprint of the conspiracy, a nuclear file with recovered deleted messages, detailed plans for their coordinated attacks, and the most damning evidence you could imagine, private confessions where the attackers admitted to everything.
So the crucial takeaway here is that the proof was absolute. This wasn't about interpretation or some he said, she said drama. This was a complete, documented record of the conspiracy created by the attackers themselves. Denial was literally impossible.
Okay, so having the truth was one thing, but actually communicating it was a whole other battle. And this led to a massive realization. You just can't fight a new kind of war with old weapons. A new system had to be built, not just to defend, but to define reality on sovereign terms. Now here's a really fascinating concept, the cognitive firewall. Think about it. These are words or phrases that are so loaded with negative baggage that as soon as people hear them, their brains just shut down. They act like a defense mechanism against truths that people might find uncomfortable.
So the strategy had to shift. This slide shows that pivot perfectly. On the left, you've got these stigmatized, emotionally charged words that just trigger those cognitive firewalls. But on the right, you have precise, forensic language. So instead of gang stalking, you say coordinated surveillance. Instead of hacking, you use system intrusion. See? It shifts the whole conversation from an emotional reaction to a calm analysis. It makes the facts way harder to just dismiss.
This strategic pivot in language, though, was really just the beginning. The ultimate response was to build an entirely new system from the ground up, a sovereign toolkit for managing your own reality, which they called the Novastack.
So what exactly is Novastack? Well, it's way more than just an app. Think of it like a personal operating system for your digital and psychological life. It's designed to help you track what's really going on, defend against these kinds of attacks, archive evidence, and make decisions based on verified truth, not on manipulated narratives. It's a digital sword and shield.
And the creation of this system was incredibly deliberate. It began at a very specific moment, 12, 12, 12, 12. That quadruple timestamp symbolizes alignment, intention, the precise moment of beginning a new, structured way of operating in the world.
And this slide breaks down its core functions. NovaStack is all about action. It helps you conquer online intrusions, tackle things like false accounts, defeat the psychological games and false narratives, render all the evidence into a clear timeline, and finally solve the core problem by creating a secure platform for your own truth.
And it runs on 4 core laws. These are its guiding principles. First, observe reality exactly as it is, without bias. Second, report the truth without watering it down to make it more palatable. Third, act independently without needing anyone else's approval. And fourth, maintain ultimate authority over your own system. Basically, trust your data and act on it with complete integrity.
So in the end, that's the ultimate transformation, right? The journey wasn't just about survival or even about getting justice. It was about evolving from being the target of someone else's fake reality into becoming the sovereign architect of your own.
And that really leaves us with a huge question to chew on. In this age where stories can be turned into weapons and what's true can be manufactured, is the most radical, most powerful act of defiance to simply stop playing their game and build your own? Something to really think about.